Not giving a fuck does not mean being indifferent. It means being comfortable with being different. You cannot be a powerful and life-changing presence to some people without being a joke or an embarrassment to others. The desire for more positive experience is itself a negative experience. And paradoxically, the acceptance of one's negative experience is itself a positive experience. To be happy, we need something to solve. Happiness is therefore a form of action. Who you are is defined by what you're willing to struggle for. The more you pursue feeling better all the time, the less satisfied you become, as pursuing something only reinforces the fact that you lack it in the first place. Our culture today is obsessively focused on unrealistically positive expectations. Improvement at anything is based on thousands of tiny failures, and the magnitude of your success is based on how many times you failed at something. Don't just sit there. Do something. The answers will follow. The more something threatens your identity, the more you will avoid it. We suffer for the simple reason that suffering is biologically useful. It is nature's preferred agent for inspiring change. When we force ourselves to stay positive at all times, we deny the existence of our life's problems. And when we deny our problems, we rob ourselves of the chance to solve them and generate happiness. The more options we're given, the less satisfied we become with whatever we choose. Commitment gives you freedom because you're no longer distracted by the unimportant and frivolous. You can't be an important and life-changing presence for some people without also being a joke and an embarrassment to others. You just can't. Everything worthwhile in life is won through surmounting the associated negative experience. We all get dealt cards. Some of us get better cards than others, and while it's easy to get hung up on our cards, the real game lies in the choices we make with those cards. If you're stuck on a problem, don't sit there and think about it. Just start working on it. Even if you don't know what you're doing, the simple act of working on it will eventually cause the right ideas to show up in your head. People who become great at something become great because they understand that they're not already great. They are mediocre, they are average, and that they could be so much better. Don't hope for a life without problems. There's no such thing. Instead, hope for a life full of good problems. The rare people who do become truly exceptional at something do so not because they believe they're exceptional. On the contrary, they become amazing because they're obsessed with improvement. Life is essentially an endless series of problems. The solution to one problem is merely the creation of the next one. We all must give a fuck about something. To not give a fuck about anything is still to give a fuck about something. Our values determine the metrics by which we measure ourselves and everyone else. If you want to change how you see your problems, you have to change what you value and/or how you measure failure success. When a person has no problems, the mind automatically finds a way to invent some. The avoidance of suffering is a form of suffering. The constant effort to be emotionally happy is a form of stress. We suffer for the simple reason that suffering is biologically useful. Everything involves sacrifice. Everything has a cost. Nothing is pleasurable or uplifting all of the time. People get addicted to feeling offended all the time because it gives them a high. Being self-righteous and morally superior feels good. Travel is a fantastic self-development tool because it extricates you from the values of your culture and shows you that another society can live with entirely different values and still function and not hate themselves. You can become truly successful at something you don't give a fuck about. We are defined by what we choose to reject, and if we reject nothing, we essentially have no identity at all. There is a simple realization from which all personal improvement and growth emerges. This is when we become comfortable with our own contradictions. We're defined by what we choose to reject. Our values are our beliefs about what's important in life. Pain is an inextricable thread in the fabric of life, and to tear it out is not only impossible, but destructive. Attempting to tear it out unravels everything else with it. You are constantly choosing to not care about infinite numbers of things. Giving too many fucks is bad for your mental health. Commitment gives you freedom because you're no longer distracted by the unimportant. We all have values for ourselves and the things we care about. Certainty is the enemy of growth. The more you try to be certain about something, the more uncertain and insecure you will feel. Problems may be inevitable, but their meanings are not. Unhealthy love is based on two people trying to escape their problems through their emotions for each other. You will never be happy if you continue to search for what happiness consists of. You will never live if you are looking for the meaning of life. Real, serious, lifelong fulfillment and meaning have to be earned through the choosing and managing of our struggles. The narrower and rarer the opportunity, the more effort it will require, and the more fulfilling it will be. To be human is to be limited. We only have so much time and energy. Hope doesn't care about the problems that have already been solved. Hope only cares about the future and the possibilities that come with it. Everything worthwhile in life is won through surmounting the associated negative experience. Problems may be inevitable, but their meanings are not. Hope is not something that can be given or taken away. Hope is something that grows within us, fueled by the choices we make. The pursuit of happiness is not about achieving something or becoming someone. It's about aligning ourselves with our true values and aspirations. Freedom itself demands discomfort. It demands sacrifice. The more we strive to avoid pain and suffering, the more we create it. Our values determine the quality of our lives. We must be willing to suffer for what we care about. True freedom is the ability to act within the constraints of reality. Growth requires pain and struggle. Our beliefs are what we are willing to sacrifice for. We are constantly defining and redefining ourselves through our choices. To live a good life, we must embrace our limitations and the reality of suffering. The desire for more positive experience is itself a negative experience. Hope is generated by the pursuit of something meaningful. We are defined by what we choose to care about. The pain of failure is far less than the pain of regret. Life's greatest rewards come from overcoming the greatest challenges. Our problems are what make us human. The more we try to control our feelings, the more they control us. True happiness comes from accepting life as it is. The more we seek certainty, the more uncertain we become. We must embrace uncertainty to find peace. Hope comes from the acceptance of our problems. We cannot escape suffering, but we can choose how we suffer. The pursuit of meaning is what drives us. Acceptance is the first step to overcoming anything. Everything meaningful in life comes with a cost. The more we avoid our problems, the bigger they become. True self-improvement comes from confronting our fears and failures. The pursuit of happiness often leads to more unhappiness. Our values shape our reality. The more we strive for happiness, the less we find it. The key to a good life is not the absence of problems, but the ability to handle them. Suffering is a necessary part of growth. We are defined by our struggles. Hope is not about avoiding pain, but finding meaning in it. The pursuit of perfection leads to dissatisfaction. We must be willing to face our problems head-on. True contentment comes from within. Our challenges define our character. Embracing our limitations leads to true freedom. The more we try to avoid discomfort, the more uncomfortable we become. We must learn to accept and work with our limitations. Hope is about finding meaning in the struggle. The pursuit of a perfect life is a recipe for misery. Our pain and suffering are what give life its meaning. True growth comes from embracing our struggles. To live a fulfilling life, we must be willing to face our fears. Hope is the foundation of a meaningful life.